welcome back to the Word. I know we skipped last week. We had some stuff come up and needed to take that week off, which is okay. But we are back and we are ready to start learning how to have our best year ever. That is right. Over the next 6 weeks, we are starting a brand new series that's called Best Year Ever. Obviously, 2020 has been far from that definition, but we are going to take the rest of this year and learn how to make 2021 our best year ever. Or I would say like the best year yet. So this is already going to focus on how to have the best year ever. Today's lesson is going to focus on how you handle your relationships with your family and with your friends. Because Jesus put those people in your life for a reason. So how you handle that relationship is going to paint a huge picture. So let's dive into it. So how many of you start the new year off with saying something like, this year's going to be different, or it's time to make a change, or I'm going to make this year better than the last? And there is something about a blank slate, a new beginning, a new calendar that brings all this hope and optimism into everyone's hearts and minds. You know, once that clock hits midnight on New Year's Eve, everyone goes nuts celebrating. Why? Because most people feel that in that moment, anything is possible. But 364 days goes by and most people find themselves excited again that the previous year and all of its crap is gone. And it's time yet again to hit that reset button. So, and have you ever thought about how ironic it is that we are always hoping for the new year or this new beginning? Why can't we just make the good, wise decisions throughout the year that makes the entire year great? Why can't a random day like March 19th or September 7th or November 20th be just as awesome as January 1st? Well, we all want the best year ever, but we aren't willing to do the work or change our perspective to make it happen. So in this series, we're going to break down what it means to have the best year ever. And before you think I'm going to give you tips on how to make more money, how to have more friends, gain more followers, just be more awesome, think again. This ain't going to be that. The road to having the best year ever looks different for a Jesus follower than it does for somebody else. In fact, sometimes the first step towards the best year ever is having the worst year ever. So I would say then 2021 is going to be great for all of us. As was the case in the life of Joseph. Over the next 6 weeks, we're going to immerse ourselves in the story of Joseph from the book of Genesis. And he had his moments of brilliance and his moments of ignorance. But he always kept his eyes on God. And because of this, and by the end of his life, Joseph could say without a doubt that he had the best life ever. So let's dive into the scripture. You'll see it on the screen to my left. To state whatever. It's over there. No, it's over there. I'll get it right one of these days. It's right there. First set of scripture comes from Genesis 37, verses 1 through 4. I'm reading from the Message version of the Bible. That way it kind of creates a more dynamic story and makes it, in my opinion, just a lot easier to digest for everybody. So let's read through it again. Verses are on the screen. Meanwhile, Jacob had settled down where his father had lived, the land of Canaan. This is the story of Jacob. The story continues with Joseph, 17 years old at the time, helping out his brothers and herding the flocks. Now these were his half-brothers, actually, the sons of his father's wives, Bilhah and Zilpah. And Joseph brought his father bad reports on them. And now Israel loved Joseph more than any other of his sons, because he was the child of his old age. And he made him an elaborately embroidered coat. And when his brothers realized that their father loved him more than them, they grew to hate him, and they wouldn't even speak to him. So immediately, we find out that Joseph started his journey at the young age of 17, which isn't much older than you guys. Now, apparently Joseph was basically the favorite child. It seems that Jacob, Israel, his dad, didn't even try to hide it. He made him this awesome robe. Most times we call it like the coat of many colors or the Technicolor coat. But overall, this didn't sit well with Joseph's brothers. The text says they hated him. Ouch. This sounds like just a little bit more than a sibling rivalry. How many of you have felt like a sibling or family member was making your life more difficult than you wanted to be? Hands in the air. Okay, let me ask you this. How many of you have made life more difficult for a sibling or a family member? I'll be honest. I'll be honest. And actually, everybody's hand should be up by this point because Joseph did the same thing. Listen to this. Genesis 37 verses 5 through 11 says this. Joseph had a dream. When he told it to his brothers, they hated him even more. He said, "Listen to this dream I had. We were all out in the field gathering bundles of wheat. All of a sudden, my bundle stood straight up, and your bundles circled around it and bowed down to mine." His brother said, "So? You're going to rule us? You're going to boss us around?" And they hated him more than ever because of his dreams and the way he talked. He had another dream and told this one also to his brothers. "I dreamed another dream. The sun and moon and the 11 stars, they bowed down to me." When he told it to his father and his brothers, his father reprimanded him. "What's with all this dreaming? Am I and your mother and your brothers all supposed to bow down to you?" Now his brothers were really jealous, but his father brooded over the entire business. So here we see that Joseph is going to be used by God in a big way. That's what these dreams represented. But the way he communicates them to his family isn't the wisest. In fact, Joseph probably knows that his brothers already don't like him, so what does he do? He adds fuel to the fire and he tells them about these dreams and that he's going to rule over them. Now we know God is the one who gave Joseph these dreams. So the issue here isn't that Joseph had the dreams, it's that the pride came into Joseph's heart and caused him to boast about his dreams to his brothers. And here we learn an important lesson. Just because you can does not mean you should. Paul said it like this in 1 Corinthians 10:23-24. Looking at it one way, you could say, anything goes. Because of God's immense generosity and grace, we do not have to dissect and scrutinize every action to see if it will pass muster. The point is not to just get by. We all want to live well, but our foremost efforts should be to help others live well. Now, Joseph could have benefited from Paul's wisdom, and while Joseph could have been more confident that God had called him to a great life, he didn't need to throw it in his family's face. What he lacked was definitely wisdom. So look at the balloon right here, right over there. This balloon represents your heart. Every time you blow air into the balloon, the air represents something that gives you confidence. A good grade on a test, a date, a new video game, whatever. Now, if we're not careful, our heart, the balloon, will continue to grow bigger and bigger and bigger until it is so big that it pops. This is how pride works. It takes the good things of our lives and make you feel the need to throw it back in other people's faces so that they become more jealous. But the more you do that, the quicker the balloon pops. So if you're ready to have the best year ever, your relationships and how you handle your pride is going to be a huge factor. Jesus puts these people in your life for a reason. He didn't die just for you, but for them as well. So I have two applications, two ways that you can put all this in your life. So the first thing is, point one, when in doubt, say nothing. Sometimes the best thing you can say in a situation is nothing. There is a saying out there. The wisest person in the room is often the quietest person in the room. Your words affect more people than you realize. If you're not directly encouraging someone, try saying nothing instead. You're going to learn that the weight of your words, you're going to learn how to weigh your words a lot differently. Point two, be confident, not cocky. Joseph started the story as a young man confident in God's plan, but he tipped the scale to cockiness when he started boasting about it in front of his brothers. Be aware that when things are good in our lives, we can easily get prideful. Learn to be confident without being cocky. It's still okay to celebrate your successes, your achievements, and all that, but learn how to celebrate without arrogance. And that is it for the first week. Kind of a quick snapshot at what this lesson is going to provide. Next week, we're going to continue the next part of Joseph's story. We're going to see how pride caused his brothers to do something kind of crazy. So be sure to come back next week to discover more how you can have the best year ever. Stay tuned to the end of the video. I'm changing how I do announcements. Announcements is just tagged on to the end here, so stay tuned, finish that out. All the announcements for this week's content is available at that point. And then we'll leave it there. So thank you guys for watching. As always, stay tuned for whatever we have coming next. As always, stay safe, stay sane, and above everything else, stay blessed. We'll see you in the next one.